the climate justice, to make the climate justice movement something grassroots through tenants union. So we are very excited that this webinar is like the very first step of 1 year work of building this Euro-wide network of tenants organizing for Just Renovations. So thank you much, and looking forward to hearing Lisa, Leonie, and then you and Arnaud from Brussels. I'll share my screen. I'll share what this partager. Hope it works. And Bashka, feel free to interrupt me. And you can interrupt me to ask question, or you can enter your question to partir du début. So I'm an organizer. I've been doing it now for a while, like 15 years. First, the Farmers Union, so really far from housing disease, but that's the same idea. Like when you're divided, isolated, you can suffer injustice. So let's organize. And we created this movement in France, Locataires Ensemble, out of past organization Alliance Citoyenne. And I'll say more about it, but it's basically it's a tenants union federation. We're building local union. We started it in Grenoble, then Lyon, Paris. And we write in the process last year, 2024, and now of like reorganizing to have this federation, because we believe, given the housing crisis, that we should be powerful, and so we get our forces together with other local groups like ALDA in the Basque Country, or new groups launch in Marseille or Montpellier. And as Bashka mentioned, the tenants union, Locataires Ensemble, is part of a group, a bigger NGO, which is named Justice Ensemble. The idea, basically, of Justice Ensemble was like to think, to view the struggle on one sector as linked to other sector. So one of the things was linking struggle in the city and struggle in the countryside. So the two main inhabitants union is English is good for this. Is like building tenants union in the city for climate justice, for low energy, low rent apartment, and we've got community union building in the countryside, who are organized because they are affected by pollution from pesticide. And they organize to fight agro industry and to fight for their health. And basically, the idea was is a bit like the labor movement, which has a confederation with like truck drivers or cleaners or different sector who comes together in confederation. We have this vision of like confederation of inhabitants union. So tenants union inside, community union, rural community union in countryside in this, and we'll link with a research institute like Institute and Skin others to try to move this forward. So yeah, I'll if you've got question about it, you're welcome to think, but to see where we talk. We are being a tenants union, we have members. We are very focused about like recruiting new members, having local groups to grow, and then how our members can go into action, do turnout. So how many victory we are able to achieve, how we train leaders. So this are considered as a membership-based organization. I think itself as a our main goals being to grow. How did we start? And now entering into our subject. We as a community organizer, when we started it in Grenoble, the idea was to focus in social housing neighborhood, where we've got social housing, one social landlord, and we identified, it was easier, we identified big landlords with old buildings which haven't been renovated for a while, so bad housing condition, high energy bills, and we had this like basic organizing drive model that we learned from Acorn. Our organizer were trained in Canada. When we started, we had this idea to circulate organizing skills from bit from Canada, then from the UK a little bit. So one of the things is like we've got organizer, we identify neighborhood which are between 500 and 1,000 using unit, and door knocking in this neighborhood, building a contact list, asking people to join to become member of the union from the first discussion, asking people about what their issue about. So many people, because we've targeted the neighborhood for this. It's about bad insulation and bills, but some people will talk about the elevator not working, or some problem with the car park or whatever, and we believe the neighborhood union can face all this thing and build power within the community. We are direct action groups, so we believe that each time we can, we do letters, but even sometimes letters, when we've got the letters and a few neighbor, we just go together and bring the letters to the office instead of sending it, to take the habits and to use this like habit to action. And sometimes, just like the picture, which was something like 9 years ago, in this low bottom, people were just saying like, now we haven't had any answer to the letters, the promise were not made, so we are too cold in our building. We're gonna go in the office, in the real estate office, and wait and get warm with our covers and wait till we've got what we like commitment to retrofit our building. So yeah, more action, people going to action, articulating this like local campaign, neighborhood campaign, winning local retrofit, and more and larger campaign. And articulated campaign to win retrofit, to other campaign like district heating campaign. We had quite a few that we realized we could lower energy bill by fighting for extending district heating. It was very good for tenants, so we had some hard fight on this in Lyon mostly, and in northern Paris. I don't know. Yeah, I wanted just showing basic. Can you hear it?
Yes. Yes.
Donc, avant toute chose, il est important de rappeler que ATIS, comme beaucoup de bailleurs sociaux, bénéficie d'un budget.
So now we're talking about the landlord. All these inhabitants are having the same landlord.
Donc, c'est pourquoi aujourd'hui, nous locataires de Paul Coca ainsi que des environs.
And this was an assembly, and these are local leaders to see what action can be taken to change the situation. I try to move a little bit. So basically, there was a petition. You can see the petition. People are signing the petition instead of having a letter. It's a collective letters, and after the letter was sent, people basically got together and go together to the agency. Wait, just to give you some vision about it, I think I can now move forward. Oh. Okay, I don't know how. Yes, okay. Action, and I'll come back to it, but basically the situation, we started and we build our skills mostly in social housing because it's easier to organize. And then we use this base, mostly the tenants base that we organize, and people like Karim that you can see here, who became national spokesperson, or Aline Lotutala. We use the fight in social neighborhood to build narrative. I'll come back later about it, about how tenants in energy-leaky homes needs protection and needs public authority to take action about it. And this was kind of a key. And that's the general story, starting from social housing, having national campaign about it with allies, and then coming back on private housing with a more territorial approach. So we kind of developed the method. We called it Zero Leaky Homes Territory, which was based, try to articulate tenants organizing effort and push for public authority intervention. And this was like the steps were using like mapping, door knocking, then organizing people through house meeting, local meeting, expertise from thermal engineer, direct action, and bargaining. The first dimension, which was important and which helped us to make the difference, was to be able to identify not only leaky homes, to map, to identify key building. One thing was like badly insulating building. So we use data about how old are the building. There's public data about the date of construction. Or there's some data about EPC, which are less complete, but that can be used. Then we had the less precise data to help us to identify, I'll keep this, to identify area with high energy consumption. There was, energy poverty, and our data engineer use data about tax information data that help us to identify the building which are owned not by individuals but by real estate society. So it helped us to identify some multi-owner, which are not a majority, but which help us to identify good battles. So basically, this mapping was used first. We call it a bit like a treasure map for organizer to find the worst dwellings and the multi-owner, and so to have some kind of iconic battle that could be used later for advocacy. Also to track the map, to track progress, which building we had members, which building we had contact, people have moved, and also to use it as an advocating tool to tell the public authority, to help them realize like the number of buildings in this neighborhood which are energy leaky homes, and also to reveal the fact that they are big owners, and so that there's injustice about it. So this is still an unprogress work. Quentin, our data engineer, had worked on it like 2 years ago. Then he worked on a PhD on that data thing, so he stopped, and he's starting again to work on the project now with a specific question of how of trying to use various kind of data, especially also on a business chamber. To try to identify this multi-owner, and the European project will use it to try to see what data are available where. After this classic organizing effort, which is door knocking, we door knock, and we knock the door saying like, hi, some neighbors have talked about difficulty. I've told us about high energy bills. Some others have identified some very bad insulation problem or other problem in the building. So general things talking about neighbors. What have you noticed? What problem have you noticed? So one of the key is open question. One of the key methods of organizing is using only open question. So basically, we frame the discussion around this 4 open question. What issue do you face? Open question. Okay, or this, and what other issue do you face? So this is first. Then, well, so you tell me that your windows are very bad, but so who's responsible to change it, to fix it? Or my owner, or my landlord, or the agency, or so from the problem we say we verticalize it, like, or politicized, saying, oh yeah, these people are not living it and are not. Why are they not doing anything? They take the rent but not doing anything. Third question is about building vision of a collective. Okay, you tell me you've got this problem and the landlords. From what you know, how many people in the building or on the streets can face similar problem? Oh, I have no ideas. Or, oh yeah, I think many people. Do you know how many? Oh, I think dozens or something. So now we've got a problem. One, we've got a responsible, and we've got a community ready to act. So we can ask the fourth question, which is an action question. Okay. If all these, your neighbors who've got the same problem, windows, got together and try to make this real agency to face, what could we do? And usually, we could share, first our problem, maybe make a petition, maybe see who are the agency who move, who don't move. And then we end the conversation with this only closed question, which is, do you want to join the union? I don't know how many people in this have experience in organizing, but I mean it's classical organizing things. What's important in what we do is we don't talk a lot about installation or renovation in the wrap, so people can talk about it. So that's why what matters is how we targeted the building, because we say we don't choose the issue, we choose the door we knock. But when we knock the doors, we've got open question about like, what do you want to change? So people can talk about elevators and security of others. Maybe we can discuss it later. Then after we've got these groups who do house meeting with a neighbor, what we find to be decisive, because sometimes we don't have the law with us. It's not a requirement from the law to retrofit. But we've got thermal engineer who comes and who make like an attestation. And it's a bit like doctors who come to the building and say, you are sick, and giving you like a medical certificate and saying like, this house is sick. and should be healed. And I mean, it's only a symbolic power, but first it gives courage and legitimacy to tenants. Yeah, we live in a sick building, in a sick house, so we should move to fix it. And it's and which was surprising, it worked with some landlords. Only the fact that a few tenants with this thermal engineer who bring problems, but also who present solution of it. So for some landlords, it was enough to start the bargaining and move forward. So sometimes it's enough, sometimes it wasn't. So we had to go to higher level of pressure. So we use a repertory of collective action, saying like from the petition, then sometimes just a banner on the building, then it's like going to the landlords. And the key is to have more than one action to be done. And the fact that the groups, even if sometimes it's like one agency, it's one tenant, few other tenants will go to support in front of the agency or others. In the first, when we started it, and we focused in Grenoble on a neighborhood, we had an interesting rate of success. This was 1 year ago, 1.5 years ago experiment. It was an 8 months between 2023 and 2024, and organizing and with expert and first action in 70% case, we had the landlords to initiate first decision. I don't mean it went to the like total renovation and total victory, but the first thing which was hard was to have the landlords to accept to discuss and to make first decision, which would be like an audit or like change windows or like can be small or bigger one. And in our vision, because it's not enough, I mean the bargaining, our bargaining power with the leaky landlords is still weak. We are in our leverage is still weak. Like in the social housing, we are leading like rent strike. Because people are numerous, they've got confidence, they fear less to lose their apartment. So like now in Aubervilliers, we've got a big process of rent strike. But in the private homes, we only in one building we had this rent strike years ago, but it's really rare. And so we've got, and this would be the leverage that could make, we believe, would make a difference, but it's very risky to use it. So we believe that to win, we need to find some kind of articulation between tenants' power, grassroots power, and local authority power. That's what we are doing, and maybe I'll come back later in Lyon with some success, because we managed to have city services and elected official to support the tenants movement, because it's cities where most of the inhabitants are tenants, so they tend to have a more like pro-tenants approach. So this is yellow ones. But beside this, behind all this, what matters is legal national frame, because it's kind of determine, also the level of pressure that we need. So that's why all what I describe as local organizing and tenants' voice, it's also the strategy is use local struggle to become iconic battle and to frame media and public narrative at the national level. Because the key for us is to try to change In France, at least, the private property is very well defended, and the real estate capitalism, the fact that housing, it's a way to earn money as an investment for when I'll be old and to complete my pension, is something very popular. So yeah, there's the big thing to change the narrative about how, the fact that the right to have one home should always prevail over the right to have two, and to use it as a pension. The first key thing in building the narrative was the naming the problem. And this I've realized that the country in France, this was a big thing, mostly in the past decades, to use the fact that we had the name passoire thermique that was widely used in media, leaky homes, energy leaky homes, and that it's like the hashtag when talking about renovation. So we don't, the name is not like renovation or modernization or things, it's leaky homes. So when the whole thing is about a problem, it's easier to say that, okay, someone should fix it. And it's a bit like the sick home. If someone is sick, you just should fix it, and maybe you don't have to be paid with public money. Just it's your work it's your responsibility to make that it's not sick, that you're building. So one thing is a problem. The second is tenant stories. We had we had some tenants who went to the media, and I haven't put the video, but the best cases we had is Aline Lotutala. You can see her on the right. She started organizing in a building with a neighbor. It was a small group, 15 neighbor, and because the situation was emblematic and it was close to Paris, when the journalist asked to talk about some debate about it, they would come to her, and so she got experience in the media interview. She's very charismatic and cool. So, and she started to like make public invitation to the minister to come and sleep in my leaky homes one night. You'll see what is it. Or she would make call for national petition. So she kind of embody the cause. And we realized that it was very important to have people like Aline who embody the cause. And then it say like, who are you with? You are with Aline, or you are with the bad guys, which is the third part of the story, like the rich, the leaky homes landlords, the one who make money out of it, and we prefer to protect their rent, to protect the health of Aline and the other. And this is not an easy part because data are rare. It's hard even to find the picture of like the Sanière family, Hubert and what's her name? Anne, I think, below, who own this 50-something apartment. The same, like in terms of statistics, most of the housing are owned by landlords have like 2, 3. It's not like big, but some have more. And the idea is like to try to divide between like the good, maybe the good landlords who are okay and who do the retrofit, who are okay, and all those like rich leaky homes landlords who make profit out of it. Yeah, sorry, I hope it's not too long. So this is, framing the thing. Last thing to complete, to end the presentation is, when we started it, most of the campaign we had was about winter energy leaky homes and how we suffer in the house in winter. And since 2023, we had more and more of our members who suffer in summer. A bit less in Paris, but in Lyon and Grenoble, it became a real big issue. We call it like, maladaptation. And the same we say in French, malade housing. yeah, whatever. Yeah, so the same. There's the problem was labeled like boiling homes or overheating homes, boiler homes, something like this. And we tried to work. This is the beginning, but we tried to work with the engineer team to identify those buildings which have south sunny phase, which have not ventilation, no bad ventilation system, mostly on the upper floor, and who are the higher risk of overheating. The same, the best we are able to target it. The easiest is it for organizer. When we knock door, it's just people, it's obvious, oh yeah, I can't live in my apartment and things. So it's gonna be obvious about this. And so this the picture was an action, for example, in August, we had the MEP and MP and Mayo who came to face the tenants who organized this action in overheating homes. Yeah, I'll be quick, but perspective is like we've got there's still a big the big challenge for us is to articulate very local high energy costing organizing, building by building, to have new tenant, new voice, like all in things, and the legal frame. Like we had in the law that make renovation mandatory started in this January for the worst leaky homes, and this was the result of the campaign I mentioned in 2021. But now, even this law is really precarious because the right-wing Senate now the Parliament is more right since last year, and they want to pack the law to cancel this mandatory renovation. So we'll have to fight like in May. We'll have there going to be debates in the parliament. So we need to also try to see how we can have we can help advocating coalition to avoid this. So national things and carrying on organizing drives in the city, because we believe that's where our power will come from, like this discipline and ability to carry on growing. And now scaling local, national, and EU, because we believe that this makes sense only if we do this with our friends and comrades from Czech Republic, from Belgium, so we should try to take a little bit time to make like boring webinar like this instead of having local meeting or exciting chance to share tactics, experience, and this. Our vision it's like to see the teaching as a balance of power between the housing capitalists and the tenants eco-union. Basically, the public authority we is just doing the result of the how the housing capitalists are strong. The transition and the justice will depend on this. So we believe we should try to increase the popular pressure from tenants union. We call them eco-union, maybe when it's aligned with ecology. So we go from a slow to progressive transition to fast transformation, and then to housing revolution that we need to make this, to keep our city livable and affordable for those who live it, and not as a source of income for a few housing capitalists. Thank you. And hope it's